About Blake Lively. I'm kind of surprised that we don't have a ruling yet, but I do think that this is causing Blake Lively to sweat a lot, especially since she got that bad news the other day. Um, but I wanted to quickly jump on to talk about the SDNY Court Clerk. I know that there's been a lot of talk about Judge Lyman being biased, and maybe he's bought and paid for by somebody. Those are all rumors, but I had previously looked into the court clerk or any allegations or anything, and in fact, there was a rotten, I will say, in my opinion, a rotten court clerk for the court at SDNY. So I guess he got to see like all of the court cases that got filed in that particular court, and he had a deal with I believe it was a criminal defense attorney. And this is all like way before the Blake Lively lawsuit. And so they got found out. Basically, the court clerk would be like, hey, you need a lawyer? I know a guy. And that's how it was basically like he was getting a kickback for referrals. So that's how that rotten court clerk got, expelled or whatever, just because he was shopping around one particular attorney, and you can't do that. Now, as for Judge Lyman's own clerks being rotten, I have not heard that, though I know we all have our theories and our assumptions. My assumption is none of them are rotten, and it's actually in Judge Lyman's best interest that Wayfair win, because he can hang on to all of his legacy and assets that he had before Blake Lively. Because if Blake Lively wins, that means that one actress can take down a whole studio. And who's to say that one actress wouldn't stop at Wayfair but go on to Sony? Sony is also part of Columbia and Lionsgate. Well, guess who also is part of Lionsgate? Judge Lyman's brother, Doug. So I don't think it's in Judge Lyman's best interest that Blake Lively wins. If she ever had a snowball's chance, I don't think she does. And I think the order that came out was proof of that because he could have easily said, yeah, this prejudices the jury or taints the jury pool. He could have easily swayed in Blake Lively's favor. It would have not even been a huge deal. But this is a signal, and this is a signal to Blake Lively that her case, well, we all know that her case is terrible and in trouble. But, he chose this particular motion, and yes, I know they argued on it, so it was due, but to fight over it. And she lost, fair and square. And so, anyways, yeah, sorry to disappoint you, but as one clerk, it wasn't the judge's clerk, it was the court's clerk, just giving out referral for a particular criminal defense attorney. I believe they were both punished, and a new clerk had been installed, I believe, in the early 2020s. But yeah, so I don't think it really affects anything. And I think if we're looking for smoke signals, we have a big one. All right, guys, I have 7 patients to see today, and I am way behind. Also, high school teenage love is a bunch of drama, and I would have never have thought that it would, spill out. Of course, it spilled out with our family, and I've gotten several phone calls now from concerned people over my son and his non-breakup of a girlfriend. All right, let's get this day started. Pretty late. Bye, guys.